Did you know your IT team wants to hack your network? And did you know that if they do, that you, the leadership team, the senior management, are legally accountable for it? Join me on the next one of our Cyber Translator podcast when we'll be looking at ethical hacking and pen testing, what it is, what it's good for, what it doesn't do, and why you need to take control of this. This is not something you want IT going off and doing by themselves. So if you want to understand, if you want me to translate what pen test means to the business and why you need to be in control of it, join me on the next one. Welcome back to the Cyber Translator. This one, why your IT team wants to hack your network. We're looking at pen testing and ethical hacking, and we're going to try to accomplish or cover, translate 3 things for you on this session. 1, why does your IT team want to hack your network? 2, should you actually let them? And 3, if you're going to allow it to happen, how are you going to stay legal? And I do mean you. As a business owner or senior leader, don't forget, you're ultimately accountable. So, pen testing and ethical hacking, why does your IT team want to hack your network? Pen testing is a great idea. Pen testing adopts the same skills and tools that hackers use against your systems. I always tell my customers, look, if you don't try to hack your system, don't worry, somebody else is going to do it for you for free. And that's the whole point. Let us carry out the same attacks on the network that we can expect to face in the real world. Why should we do that? Well, it's a great way to learn how effective your controls actually are. We know that we've implemented policies and procedures and we've created baselines and we've got firewalls and IDSs and all that stuff your IT department does. We need to test it. We need evidence that in an actual attack, it's going to sustain your business. I'm going to date this one because the headlines on the news is all about Heathrow. We just lost one of Europe's busiest airports because of a single fire in a single substation. You see, pen testing would try to detect those single points of failures. Pen testing might have highlighted that an attack on that substation could actually result in the closure of one of Europe's busiest airports. We want to do the same on your network. We want to use the tools and techniques that hackers use to test the controls that we've put in, to test your user training, to test your firewalls, to test your antivirus, and also to test your detection and response capabilities. Pen tests by themselves don't actually accomplish anything. They do not, as a single process, improve your security. What they do is prioritize what you need to act upon. It's about 2 things, prioritization and impact. You're going to learn what you got wrong, and you're going to learn what impact that can have. Pen test, it's just as important to test the response to the pen test, your ability to detect it, respond to it, as it is to prevent it in the first place. Ethical hacking pen testing can, of course, be dangerous. You know, if you're going to run the same tools and techniques, there can be issues. Unexpected things can happen, service outage, damage. So even though it is a positive thing to do, we do need to be a little bit careful. Has your team internally got the right skills and experience? Have they been educated and trained on how to do this? And you can do it safely. So pen testing, it's there to discover exactly what would happen if a bad event occurred. I really am interested to find out from the UK government, did we look at the resilience of all the power stations around Heathrow? Why was that substation not looked at previously? Why was the fire in it and the smoke direction not plotted to cover a runway? Pen testing is something that is worthwhile, which takes me to the second question. Should you let them do it? It's not as easy as a straightforward yes in this one. It'd be very easy just to go ahead, but there are many things that you can do that are more important than pen testing. It should not be the very first thing or the second or the third or the fourth. It shouldn't be one of the first things you spend your budget on. IT team members, they're technical and they love technical things. Blue LED flashing lights. I love technology. It excites me. It enthuses me. But as a technologist, I get a little bit carried away with technology every so often, and I would worry that if it's one of the first things you want to do. There are other ways of finding vulnerabilities and fixing them, such as vulnerability scanning and audit. There are more important processes like business continuity and your SOC incident response. And of course, if you've listened to any of these podcasts at all, you know how much I bang on about disaster recovery, tested, working disaster recovery plans. So, it depends on your maturity. Should you allow it? If you already have a team of skilled people with the right training and certification, if you've already conducted your audits and your vulnerability scans, if you already have tested disaster recovery and business continuity plans, if you already have playbooks and incident response in your SOC, if you've already done the important things, ticking them off a list, moving down, then you probably are ready for a pen test. Finally, how are you going to ensure that it remains legal throughout the entire process, that there's no kickback? Don't forget, as a senior leader, director in an organization, you are always ultimately accountable. The buck stops with you, and that includes the legal responsibilities. Pen testing can be potentially dangerous, and in today's interconnected world, it is highly unlikely that your network and system exists in a bubble, isolated by itself. It doesn't. We're interconnected. So it's very easy during a pen test for your internal team to get a bit carried away. Where does your network stop? Where does your vendor start? If you have cloud services on AWS, GWS, or Microsoft Azure, then how do we do that? If you have software providers that provide the code, they own the legal copyright. They own the intellectual property of that code. Having pen testers reverse engineer code could potentially be a copyright infringement. It could be a criminal breach. So we call it terms of engagement documentation, a scope if you like. An uber detailed project scope because the project's going to do something dangerous. You need clear terms of engagement, and you, the collective board, the collective senior team, you are the only ones that can authorize this. Many IT managers go on the assumption it's their network and their system. But of course it's not. It's yours. The network and system's ultimate accountability will go straight back to the stakeholders and shareholders in your business, and you, the senior team, represent their best interest. So, we need an approval process. We need to take these seriously. We do not run them ad hoc without serious consideration and planning first. I have been involved in a number of incidents that I cannot speak about that have included internal teams causing legal issues, causing outages. I had one particular one where a simple pen test took down an important national back-end service. These things can have unattended consequences, and your IT team won't have any malicious intent, you hope. But they do it out of enthusiasm. They do it out of being thorough. They do it out of their keenness and eagerness to make sure they do a good job. Your job is to make sure that it's not the first thing you do, that you do the other things first. I mean, have you ever heard of an IT team that volunteers to do an audit before a pen test? What IT team do you know of that likes documentations and logs and metrics and KPIs and all of that really, really good stuff? They don't like audits because we're there to measure their paperwork, to mark their homework. But they love playing with techie toys like pen test. You need to ensure things like audit, incident response, playbooks, business continuity planning, these things come first. Your job is to ensure they do. And when you're at that maturity level, when you're ready, when you have evidence that the other things are being done properly, then you need to ensure that there's clear authority given. You grant permission. You allow it. You approve the scope. Remember, we called it the terms of engagement? And you make sure that if any vendors are included, that we've made sure that legally we're allowed to do it. You don't want your IT team to end up with a criminal investigation against them. They won't have meant it, but they don't get the legal consequences of doing this. So, ethical hacking, pen testing. Why does your IT team want to hack your network? Number one, because it's technical and they love technical stuff. But number two, because it is a good idea when your system, when your network, when your business has reached a certain maturity level. Two, when you do it, you need to make sure there's an approval process. You are legally accountable for this. If they go off and affect vendors' networks or reverse engineer software that you don't own the copyright to, there could be criminal consequences. They could cause more damage than the pen test will ever do good. And three, because you are legally accountable for these actions, the actions of your employees. You need to make sure that there are clear terms of engagement documentation, that the people doing it have the right skills and background, and they're not going to end up causing more pain than good. I do like pen testing. I do like ethical hacking. Okay, I was running a certified ethical hacking course recently. We just released version 13, and the AI tools on it are quite amazing. Okay, I love the technology, but I also know audits, playbooks, BCP, disaster recovery, SOC teams, they are, in my opinion, more important than a pen test ethical hack. So there you go, folks. That's why your IT team wants to hack your network and why you, the leadership, the senior management, must take control of it. Well, coming to the end of this one, so you think you know what I'm going to say. Look, I really do hope you learned something and you enjoyed it. And if you did, maybe you'd follow along or like, and maybe you'll join me the next time. But even if you don't, thanks for listening.